Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Fireside Chats with Francev. First things, in case you are wondering, because you've often questioned yourself when you walk into my classroom when I have the AC blasting, why? Why does he have the fireplace going? It's not that cold out. Well, brief history lesson for you. Fireside Chats were started by President Roosevelt during World War II. It was his idea that he would offer a speech to unify the nation and to keep them abreast of what's going on during the war. So many folks would gather around their one radio and listen by the fireplace. So FDR called them Fireside Chats. Me being a super English nerd and your English teacher, love the alliteration of Fireside and Francev. So I ran with Fireside Chats with Francev. At least while we're on this, isolation, while we're trying to flatten the curve of COVID-19. All right, tonight's series of poems are in honor of National Dog Day. While I am not a fan of made-up holidays, National Dog Day kind of works for me. If you'll notice, I got Juliet. She is the newest addition of the Francev pack of misfit dogs. She just had surgery today, so she's feeling a little morose and kind of a little needy. Anyway, I got a pack of poems about dogs. The first one is The Power of the Dog by Rudyard Kipling. My seniors, hopefully Rudyard Kipling sounds familiar. We read his poem If at the beginning of the year. If was his message to his son as what it takes to become a man. So, The Power of the Dog by Rudyard Kipling. There is sorrow enough in the natural way from men and women to fill our day. And when we are certain of sorrow in store, why do we always arrange for more? Brothers and sisters, I bid you beware of giving your heart to a dog to tear. Buy a pup and your money will buy love unflinching that cannot lie. Perfect passion and worship fed by a kick in the ribs or a pat on the head. Nevertheless, it is hardly fair to risk your heart for a dog to tear. When the 14 years which nature permits are closing in asthma or tumor or fits, and the vet's unspoken prescription runs to lethal chambers or loaded guns, then you will find it's your own affair, but you've given your heart to a dog to tear. When the body that lived at your single will, with its whimper of welcome, is stilled, how still? When the spirit that answered your every mood is gone, wherever it goes for good, you will discover how much you care and will give your heart to a dog to tear. We've sorrow enough in the natural way when it comes to bearing Christian clay. Our loves are not given, but only lent at compound interest of cent per cent. Though it is not always the case, I believe, that the longer we've kept them, the more do we grieve. For when debts are payable, right or wrong, a short time loan is as bad as a long. So why in heaven, before we are there, should we give our hearts to a dog to tear? Our second poem tonight is by Sir Walter Raleigh. It is titled, To a Lady with an Unruly and Ill-Mannered Dog Who Bit Several Persons of Importance. I just can't help but love that title. Your dog is not a dog of grace. He does not wag the tail or beg. He bit Miss Dickinson in the face. He bit a Bailey in the leg. What tragic choices such a dog presents to visitor or friend. Outside there is the Glasgow fog, within a hydrophobic end. Yet some relief even terror brings, for when our life is cold and gray, we waste our strength on little things and fret our puny souls away. A snarl, a scruffle round the room, a sense that death is drawing near, and human creatures reassume the elemental robe of fear. So when my colleague makes his moan of careless cooks and warts and debt, enlarge his views, restore his tone, and introduce him to your pet, Quad Raleigh. All right, our third one tonight is A Little Dog That Wags His Tail by Emily Dickinson. Dickinson should be familiar to my juniors. This one, unfortunately, does not follow that same rhyme scheme where you could recite it to the Ballad of Gilligan's Island, but A Little Dog That Wags His Tail. A little dog that wags his tail and knows no other joy. Of such a little dog am I, reminded by a boy, who gambols all the living day without an earthly cause, because he is a little boy, and honestly, I suppose. The cat that in the corner dwells, her marital day forgot, the mouse but a tradition now of her desireless lot. Another class remind me, who neither please nor play, but not to make a bit of noise, beseech each little boy. And our final poem tonight is Dog by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. The dog trots freely in the street and sees reality, and the things he sees are bigger than himself, and the things he sees are his reality. Drunks in the doorway, moons on the trees. The dog trots freely through the street, and the things he sees are smaller than himself. Fish on newsprint, ants in holes. Chickens in Chinatown windows, their heads a block away. The dog trots freely in the street, and the things he smells smell something like himself. The dog trots freely in the street, past puddles and babies, cats and cigars, pool rooms and policemen. He doesn't hate cops. He merely has no use for them. And he goes past them and past the dead cows hung up whole in front of the San Francisco meat market. He would rather eat a tender cow than a tough policeman, though either might do. And he goes past the Romeo Ravioli factory and past Coit's Tower and past Congressman Doyle. He's afraid of Coit's Tower, but he's not afraid of Congressman Doyle. Although what he hears is very discouraging, very depressing, very absurd to a sad young dog like himself, to a serious dog like himself. But he has his own free world to live in, his own fleas to eat. He will not be muzzled. Congressman Doyle is just another fire hydrant to him. The dog trots freely in the street and has his own dog's life to live and to think about and to reflect upon, touching and tasting and testing everything, investigating everything without benefit of perjury, a real realist, with a real tale to tell, with a real tale to tell it with, a real, live, barking, democratic dog, engaged in real, free enterprise, with something to say about ontology, something to say about reality and how to see it and how to hear it, with his head cocked sideways at street corners, as if he is just about to have his picture taken for Victor Records, listening for his master's voice, and looking like a living question mark in the great gramophone of puzzling existence, with its wondrous hollow horn, which always seems just about to spout forth some victorious answer to everything. Thanks for hanging out with me and listening to a pack of poems about dogs. Hope you have a wonderful National Dog Day, and I'll see you guys soon.